We're back at the Bologna show, Auto Moto di Epoca, and we've got a big Fiat celebration in honour of 125 years of Fiat, which isn't a bad innings, is it? On display is just some of the bits and pieces they manufacture. I'm not really sure how much of this is just promotional stuff and how much of it is actual things they made and were available to the public. Certainly those locks and those scissors wouldn't have been just PR, they'd have been proper things. And then we pan round, and there we have the 1954 Turbina. So this is the gas turbine car, which, you know, what a joy to see this. Now, I'd imagine there's a lot of Otto Vu stuff in this, but I don't really know much about it. But I'm sure there's plenty to, be found out if you want to look it up. But I was very stirred to see this. Every year I photograph a little porcelain model of it, which I, covered, which wasn't there this year, but the real car was. So, yeah, more than made up for it. She likes it. Look, there's Batgirl. Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? And it is like a sort of Italian 1950s Batman Batmobile. And obviously the Batmobiles are a different thing entirely. And the Bat cars, which are the Alfa Romeo aerodynamic cars, are another thing. But look at that. How about that for an exhaust? Which I guess it is the exhaust being gas turbine, isn't it? So yeah, that's quite remarkable, isn't it? Wouldn't fancy having to back it up. Lambretta school engine. Now, I do like Lambrettas, and I like school engines, and this was a gem. Now, the chap wanted €1,000 for it, which I don't think is over the top, actually. I think it's probably quite reasonable, and it's in such beautiful condition. It's obviously been kept indoors, not in some damp old garage. Yeah, there's not even any dust on it, no corrosion. So I think, if you was a Lambretta fan, that'd be a nice thing. Struggle to get it home, which is the main reason I didn't get it. But also, to be honest, that'd blow my budget. And there's other more important things I'm looking for. And I've already got that lovely little Fiat 600 school engine, so do I really need another one? It gets to this point where it just gets too much, doesn't it? Sometimes it just feels like you're being greedy, just buying this stuff up. It just seems slightly obscene sometimes. Anyway, I haven't got the money, I can't afford it, and it's not happening. Cittadella, Nuvolari, Spider. This is on the L'Aquila stand, the paint people. It's beautiful, isn't it? Absolutely lovely, that is. What a charming thing. And I think they have a fairly prosaic engine, just a little four-cylinder Fiat engine. But anyway, forget that. The styling is wonderful. Riva speedboat, well, for your playboys on Lake Como, which you do see these actually. Sometimes they're used to deliver the bride and groom to a wedding and things like that, which is lovely to see. Mahogany speedboats, I mean, what a joy. I covet these. I'm sure, sort of a lottery, really, it's not going to happen, but why not? Ajip, this lovely little petrol station, and we love the Ajip Carni, don't we? Ilkana, which is, I think, is based on the she-wolf of Rome, but apparently it's not. Apparently it's supposed to represent four wheels of the car and the two legs of the driver, the six-legged dog, and the fire is the octane of the petrol. But I think that's must have been influenced by the she-wolf of Rome. That is a Lamborghini chassis, and that, standing up in the corner, is a Stratos tub. And why is this relevant? Well, they have Dino engines, don't they, Stratoses? But isn't that beautifully made? And the reason it's so well done is because these guys made them originally, and they still have all of the tooling, and they still make them. So if you want to rebody a Stratos, you can buy one from them. Or if you want to build your own, what better way to start than with a real tub? Forgive me for showing this beautiful Mistral again. You know, I'm smitten with that colour. That's very cool. I think I mentioned it in last week's video. But really, I thought we should have a quick look at this Arbath Simca 1300 round tail. Or there's a Dino Spider there for all you Dino fans. I know some of you only come here for Dino stuff. There you go. See, it's dry sump. It's got the sump to the right hand side as well as the main sump on the engine. Well, that's the dry sump on the right there in the picture. Oh, I think that's gorgeous. It's a lovely thing. I like the way they do this sort of disappearing line, the way it sort of disappears off into the horizon to make the bonnet sort of elongate, look longer, doesn't it, the way they've done that. That's quite cool. Club Italia. And it's a pretty penny, but, you know, I think that's just what they are. I think it's so amazing. Oh, I suppose it would be. A lovely period Targa Florio sticker. Yeah, that really is something. I'm smitten with that. But you know, my predisposition to loving Arbath stuff, it's hardly a surprise. Yep, that pops. That is a good colour. And we'll have a little wander over here. More to my budget. Although actually these have gone up in value. But I got one of these. I've had it for 30 years, paid 50 quid for it. Arbath 70 horsepower. But yeah, they've gone up in value a bit since then. Anyway, I'm keeping mine. A Flaminia. These are lovely things, aren't they? Beautiful cars. Like them. And then we'll have a little wander over here to an Aurelia. Then a Stratos. Seeing as we were just looking at a tub, there's a real one. Although that tub is clearly real because it's made by the real people. And these Aurelias are lovely as well. I'm a big fan of them. Don't know which one I'd pick out of them two. Because I do really like Aurelias. But, you know, these things are proper crazy, aren't they? Them Stratuses. Aurelia Spider America. These are big money, look. That's a lot of money in it. But they are very elegant. Pretty car. Ralph Nader wouldn't like that windscreen. He banned them, didn't he? Because they bash your knee on them. Now this bicycle, forgive me, I like old bicycles, and I think this is an absolute gem. Look at these rod brakes. They're quite remarkable. Floor-leaf clover, cotter pin cover. That's lovely. Extra bracing on the frame there. I think that's because of all them brakes rods going through there. Don't know what that fluffy bearskin thing is on the mudguard, but it's pretty cool. Lovely details, isn't it? Look at it. And there's the lock, the fitted lock. That's even got a light on it. Yeah, I thought that was that. I do like that. Now, I know you're probably not into bicycles, all of you lot, but I actually really like that. No, I'd have been keen to bring that one home. I brought some of this home. I bought some bits off this guy. Yeah, which you'll see on a future video. But yeah, it's a lovely thing. He's actually from Padova, this guy. But he said he prefers the Bologna show. He said it's a far better place to get to, even though he lives in Padova. And when he used to go to the Padova show, he said there's nowhere to park, can't get there. He said this one's far easier to actually get to and, you know, unload the vehicle and so on, and for people coming to the show. And, you know, he thinks it's a better thing. So there we go. We'll go with it. We'll go with his, what he says. Good colour on a Dino, I think. I know not everyone thinks this custard yellow's good, but I think it's quite cool. 2.4. Tidy. Looked quite good. Wasn't perfect, but nice. I quite like these, and this one was a good price. I thought this was a bargain, actually. I think they're quite cool, these. I like them funny headlamps. And I think it's a bit cooler than the 2002, really, which I did have O2s back in the day. But yeah, I quite like these. I think that's quite nice. Yeah, I think they're all right. Elegant. Nice dash, isn't it? It's a manual. I was tempted by that. Not that I've got the money to buy it or the will to own it, actually. But I think it's good. That's why I filmed it. Now here we are. Now this is pretty something. I've been talking about these being special for a long time, and that one was exceptional. I like these too. All this 105 stuff I like. Yeah, that's nice, isn't it? Doesn't seem over the top. That's the sort of money they are now. Gone are the days of buying things like that cheap. Now this is lovely. Step front on Rome plates. Original. You know, well, looks very authentic. Well, that's lovely. Very nice. Got the early dashboard. So that is, you know, that's a nice thing. You know, I covet them as well. Yeah, so this is original, never been restored. And look at the mileage on it. I think it's only like 3,000 kilometres or something ridiculous. So, well, nearly 4,000 kilometres. There you go. And the price? Well, that's what they are, and that must be the best one in the world, mustn't it? I think that is wonderful. I reckon that would be the one to buy. Probably gone off to Japan. Now, this one I really liked. It's early, so it's column change. And again, you know, that's the sort of money they are, which, you know, if you want one, you're just going to have to stump up for it, aren't you? And you couldn't fix a rough one for that money. So I think that's all right. I like this. It has a bit of extra trim, these early ones, you see around the tail and there. They're lovely, isn't it? Again, Rome plates look like their original plates, so it probably has never, you know, never had a plate change, which is good. Bianchinas. I do like these. And look at this thing with the bug eyes. Fiat 500. A bug-eyed Fiat 500. 600, as you know, I'm like them. So why has that got bug eyes, that Fiat 500? Why does it look like that? Well, it's because it's an American spec one. So they had to raise the level of the headlights, raise the height of them, which they had to put the bug eyes off, which I think they stole them from a multipler. But look at the price of it. I mean, it is a transformable, and it's suicide doors, so it's early. And there's an actual transformable, which is the Bianchina Auto Bianchi transformable, which I quite like. And the little estate one. Now, these estate ones, they sold quite a few of them in UK, actually, and the vans. These are underrated in the UK, but they're actually quite strong money in Italy because they love them. And that's a cool one, isn't it? And that with that colour is really nice. And the interior as well. I think that's really, really smart. Don't know if I'd have it over a 105, but I don't know. It's quite a cool choice instead of a 105. You know, there's a lot of them 105s about, and not many of these. Certainly not over here. Little Porsche. Well, that's worth including. I'm not a Porsche fanatic at all, but that's lovely, isn't it? And especially with the hubcaps. You know, it looks really subtle, and that black. Dinos. Well, you know, we have to have a quick look at a Dino. Dino Spider with the grill upside down. I don't know why people do that. I've seen it so often they put the grills on up the wrong way. Silly arses. This is quite nice, you know, this Alpha next to it. Isn't that pretty? And then the one next to it, again, is very nice. Now, I think this is a special someone's made out of a 2.6, you know, 2600. It's very cool. I was quite like that. I thought it was quite nicely done. I know not everyone's into these funny sort of, I don't know what you'd even call them. It's not even a tour room copy because it's, you know, but I think it's quite nice. I think it's a nice looking thing. And, you know, it shows the coach building skills. These little 356s are lovely as well, aren't they? I don't know if I'd actually own one. I couldn't afford to. You know, but they are pretty. I think they're lovely. Yeah, that's cool, isn't it? That lovely fuel filler. Yeah, I like the way they make the doors on these and the frames and everything. It's really cool. All that tubey stuff. So yes, that's worth inclusion, I felt. Now this is another Aurelia, but look at the price difference in this because it's just the convertible and not the Spider America. You know, a lot of people wouldn't even notice the difference, would they? You know, well, you know what I mean. And yes, yeah, these coupes are really something, aren't they? I do like them. I'm a fan. Yankina Fiat 500. Some period repairs. So you see these guys do all sort of paint removal and stuff like that. So it's worth a good look. They've got an E-type tub. Fiat Gamine tub. You know, my landlord's got a couple of them. He had 3 at one point, so I sort of know my way around them. Vignali who built them. Now, here we go. So we've got a 246 Dino and paint removal. This is one that Walter's doing at Dino Point. It's got some period repairs there, you'll see on the bottom there. Looks like they've brazed it on. But then when we pan up, you can see the factory joins where they've welded it, gas welded it together, then hammer finished. And I thought that's worth looking at. That slightly grey stuff's see there's the weld going down through the wing there. And the grey colour that you can see around the air vent, that's lead. So they use a lot of lead to finish them. Doors are obviously in aluminium. See these joins here? This is interesting, the way they've joined that. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure that A-post repair area was factory. But look how they do the headlight tubs. So that's really interesting to see how they're constructed. I thought that was worthy of inclusion. Looks like an aluminium bonnet again. So I think the outer panels on these are obviously the opening panels are aluminium. Now you can see the lead again around the headlights. See that join is again on the A-post there. So perhaps it is factory. It just looked a little rougher than the other ones. Anyway, perhaps he did that in the afternoon when he'd had enough. This is a pretty sky, isn't it? These lovely colours. I do like these yellows. I think that's quite nice. But, you know, my heart's with the step fronts. I think they're a better looking thing. Like those guys like it, don't they? That's why I stood in the way. Yeah, original plates for the look of it. Which is always nice if they're on the original plates. Yeah, that's a good colour. I know not everyone likes it, those sort of egg yolk yellows, but I like them. I think they're cool. Again, the early dashboard. Yeah, I do like them. They're a lot of money now for for what used to be a fairly easy entry level thing. So this is how you make your exhaust. That's a jig for the Super Sprint guys making exhausts. Thought that's worth having a quick look at. Early Fulvias, HFs I like particularly, and this is sweet, isn't it? You know, when they're debumpered like this, the HF stripes, and those pretty little seats they have in them. But yeah, not insubstantial amount of money, is it? But it is a special little car, alley panelled. Some of these have plexiglass windows. I'm not sure if that one does. I used to work on one years ago. Lovely thing. It's one of the things that really switched me on to Italian cars was working on an early Fulvia HF. I think it was a 1.2. It was a very rare car anyway. But yeah, working on that really switched me on to what these things can be. There's just too much to look at in there. Volvo Zagato. Heading towards a little 600 Abarth. It's pretty, isn't it? No, they're just cool. I just like 600s and I like the Abarth stuff. Don't think this is a genuine car. And here we have a super colour, and as it says, a super price, which it is. It's really tiny little car. Not going to break the bank, is it? What a lot of fun you'd have with that. I actually quite like them. It'd be quite a nice alternative to a Fiat 500. They're very cool, especially in that 70s sort of colour. I think that's really cool. Golden Special, Lambretta. I like that. He did a silver special as well, but yeah, I think the gold one's the one I have. Like these Alfa Romeo vans. Quite cool with those little hatches that pop up. See, it's had some cover seals wedged on it at some point, which is a bit of a shame. But but I think that's cool. I think that's quite a nice thing. They're quite a lot of money, these things, actually. They're quite desirable, I guess. And that's why they're a lot of money. But it'd be good if you had a business, with it. Yeah, the way that little thing pops up on the door there. That's cool, isn't it? Like this thing on the door, this on the driver's door. I don't know what that is. It must be the symbol of the firm. And then we've got a diesel in there. Well, I think we'd probably junk that, wouldn't we? And put a little twin cam in it, which is what they would have if they were petrol ones. So yeah, that's quite a cool thing. You'd sort of try and preserve it, I think. Even if you had to replace them sills, you'd fake them in a bit. Here we are, Fiat 125. Now, this would be a good parts hauler for my Fiat Resurrection business, wouldn't it? Yes, yes, for Lazarus. I know it's a bit macabre to look at it, but it's quite a cool thing, isn't it? It's extremely flamboyant, isn't it? All this stuff. Yeah, all this architecture on it and stuff. It's mad, isn't it? I did see a Fiat 130 saloon that was converted to a hearse for sale once, and it was in a very deep chocolate brown. Didn't have so much of this ornate stuff on it, and that was really cool. And again, I was sort of joking, that'd be a cool thing to have. But yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people would find it in poor taste. But hey, we're all staring down the barrel of our own mortality, aren't we? So better laugh about it. I'm no stranger to loss. So I try and laugh it off. It's all I can do. Yeah, it wasn't actually for sale. I don't know. I mean, whether it was for sale or not, I don't know. But they said not for sale. This is just like the one we used to do for Peter, which is why I included it. And here we have a little Fiat 500 motor. And you see it's got an overhead cam on it. Well, if it ever refocuses. Yeah, it's starting to focus now. Overhead cam. Had a little trigger wheel, so it's obviously an injection. Electronic injection, which you'll see. So yeah, I thought that was worth including. I don't know why the phone kept going out of focus. Obviously, perhaps a bit tired, a bit overwhelmed with it all. A bit like I was. Time for a cup of coffee. But yeah, it's mad what they can do with them little 2 cylinders now, isn't it? Look at that. I don't know about that belt. It's going to get a bit warm with the exhaust going through it there. I suppose it's easy to replace, isn't it? So yeah. And just like our Mille car, there we are. Now they are, they're quite expensive, these things, and they're quite desirable. A lot of people like these Alpha 1900s, but one that's got Mille history is going to be more money, and the one we did it in would be more money. But it's got Mille history. It's done it 20 times now, so that's pretty good going, isn't it? And yeah, what an adventure that was. And there's lots of videos about it if you want to go and look at them, if you haven't already seen them. There's a Flavia Zagato. Now, these are strange birds, aren't they? They really are. The way that glass wraps around on the back there. I quite like that rear hatch thing, because that's a bit like the Fulvia Zagato. It's on a little motor, so it pops up and down with a little switch on the dashboard just to get some airflow through them. But yeah, they are strange. Now, this is cool, isn't it? This little van. I really like that. I like them. I thought she looked very elegant with it. She's almost colour-coded to it, isn't she? She's not paying much attention to it, but she looks like it looks like it's her van. The way she's dressed, elegant, and in the sort of very complementary colours to the van. But there we are. And I don't know what he's gabbling on about on his phone, saying how he's found this wonderful van. But yeah, that's a cool thing, isn't it? They really are sweet. So it's Fiat 600 based. So yeah, I mean, it would patter along a bit, wouldn't it? But yeah, it'd be a fun thing. I don't know what you'd actually be able to use it for, because not that much room in it. But there we are. But yeah, you recognise the architecture off of Fiats, like the door handles and things, off of the 600. Yeah, like the hatch one for the... Yeah, well, there you go, just door handle. But yeah, they don't always have that trim on them. So whether this is a different spec, I don't know. You could probably glitz them up a bit, if you wanted it for a sort of posher firm, you could probably get the ones with the trim on them. And I think the coach builders did loads of different versions of them and things. And talking to coach builders and building 600s, here's some funny little coach built thing. And lots of handbooks for sale. Now, it's not one I know, this. I think you can research it. You can see the pictures of it, what it would look like when it's put back together. It's a bit strange. I didn't seem to have anything else of it there. Whether they got all the bits, I don't know. If they haven't got the bits, forget it. It just, where would you get the glass from? You'd hope that it was, common to something else, but God, yeah, you'd struggle with that, wouldn't you, if you didn't have all the stuff with it. But cool thing. Jensen, very 70s colour. And here's one for Gary, Alpha 33 Cabriolet. I don't know what this thing is, if it's a custom build or concept car or what, I don't know. Not sure about it. Not convinced by that. But, worth looking at, isn't it? 500 Arbath of some description. Don't know if it's real or not. Nice little Fiat pickup next to it. You can see the plethora of stuff that's here. Now this one is real. Isn't that lovely? Suicide doors as well. It's cool though, isn't it, with those little steel wheels on it. So this is a proper one. So I was very keen to have a good look at this. Joe wanted some pictures of real ones, so that's partly why I did it. But yeah, isn't that cool? It's quite a lot of money, but that's what they are for a real one. And I'd have thought your money's probably safe in one of them. Yeah, because it is pretty cool. Better than that American bug-eyed thing that was similar money. I'd much rather have this. That great big rev counter in it. Yeah, I mean, this is cool, isn't it? It'd be eligible for all sorts of things as well. I mean, they're not that fast, as but it's a lot more peppy than a standard 500. But yeah, it's a cool thing, isn't it? Very cool. About sump. Well, you have to, don't you? And okay, one for you rally lads. So is that an HF 4x4? That's what I used to have, one of them. And then an Iveco 4x4. Shorty. Short chassis 4x4 support vehicle. It's quite mad, isn't it, in the martini colours. Another Dino Spider. Forgive me, it's a bit of busman's holiday. I don't concentrate on them too much. This is cool, this little thing. Fiat 500 based. Look at that funny rear overhang on the back. What's that all about? So you won't get your back lights wet, will you? A funny thing, isn't it? Yeah, well, inclusion for the oddness of it. I'm not sure I'd want it, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty funny, isn't it? I mean, why not? You won't see another one at the show, will you? Yeah, this is yeah. You see what I mean? Look at that. That's bizarre. Can you imagine trying to work on it? Oh, actually, no. It looks like the top flips up, so there's actually probably plenty of access in there, and that black back panel I think comes down. Anyway, all right, okay, maybe not too bad, or maybe the back panel unbolts. I don't know. I do like the fact they made these things, though. Can you imagine? Yeah, when the car was new, deciding to make something like that out of the 500. Yeah, these Zagatos are cool, aren't they? And Flaminia, we like them. They're lovely things. And this is cool, isn't it? A little Talbot Sunbeam, early one with the early lights. Nicely set up, doesn't it? Funny old strut brace, look, it goes all over the place like that. But that looked like a bit of kit, didn't it? These big arches. They're running on slicks, so they've been doing some tarmac stuff in it. Yeah, that's a cool bit of kit. And, very different to having an Escort, isn't it? You get a bit bored looking at Escorts, wouldn't you? Yeah, these are something. So that's that old slant lump that effectively was the loosely based on the Vauxhall engine. And they did they put that twin cam style head on the Friends and so on, but it's all in alley on the Lotus. Volumetrico, so this is a supercharged Arbath. Did a lot of work on one of them for somebody, Graham. So yeah, that's a cool bit of kit. They go nice. They sound good with the supercharger. And Dinos. Well, probably nothing I can tell you about that. This one was 20 grand, 2 litre. Had the wrong interior, and it had a 2.4 interior in it. And a dreadful respray that people were laughing at, that was all dry and horrible, like it's done with aerosols. But if the respray's that bad, then the prep work would be equally poor, and it actually doesn't like have loads of sort of lumps of filler with scratch marks showing through. So perhaps it's actually quite solid underneath that terrible paint. And if you like the VW nutters, you could probably clean that paint off, couldn't you? Try and get it back to the original colour until you could get round to a full respray. And it could look quite cool. And the 2 litre interior, it wouldn't be that difficult to come by. So a good starting point for someone. This is elegant in white. Early Fulvia. I do like these. Yeah, it looks like a very nice one. And a very nice car. Beautiful engineering as ever with Lancia. Quirky, but really nice. I'm a big fan of these. Worked on a few of these, and I do really like them. Particularly these early ones. He likes it, look. I mean, this was filmed on the second day we were at the show, and I must admit we were getting quite jaded by this point. We were getting tired. And we're a fair way through this video, aren't we? It's a long video for you guys to sit through. But anyway, you can always go next year and have a look for real, can't you? This is pretty. Giulietta. And again, when I was sort of eulogising about that little 126, this is cool, isn't it? This is a sort of different one, sort of more elegant version in that lovely blue. A bit more subtle. But, still I like it. I think these are cool. I wouldn't mind one. I don't know what I'd do with it or where I'd go in it, but I don't mind them. And they're great fun. There's a sort of, back in when we were kids, the lads used to buy them at the weekends just to have as a silly joke almost, to run around in them when you could pick them up cheap. 500? There we go. Cougar Fisher fuel injection on a V6 Capri engine. That's pretty something, isn't it? Slide throttle. What a bit of kit that is. Yeah, that's something, isn't it? Yeah, so that was worth inclusion. And the little van next to it's cute, isn't it? With the little high top. You still wouldn't be able to stand up in the back. At least you get a bit of headroom, a bit more headroom. Less crouching when you're crawling around in it. It's very cool though. It's quite a following for little commercials like that. And you can see the plethora of stuff. It's just, unbelievable, isn't it? So much stuff here. Yeah, Giulietta. I prefer the earlier ones with the whiskers on them. But, it's still nice. Don't get me wrong, it's still a nice car. And maybe these later ones are better because they've been developed more. Did you clock that door handle? There's on the 250 California Ferrari, and it's also on the Mistral. This is a cool little thing. It's done the Targa Florio period. Sort of homebrew thing. Had an Abarth 850 engine in it. The guy was sort of telling us about it. He's very keen to sell it, so he's sort of, showing us a little video clip of it in a minute and so on. You see there he's talking to Lincoln a great length about it. It's quite a cool thing. I quite liked it. It's sort of, but it's a bit, it's not a 50s car. I don't really know enough about it actually, but I think it was built later on, to emulate them 50s cars. Obviously built in the 60s. So not long after the sort of era of them, but it looks a bit, it's cool, but it's a funny little thing. I suppose it goes like Sting, but you can imagine you could really get hurt in that thing, couldn't you? No protection in it whatsoever. But yeah, I'll change that steering wheel immediately for something more period correct. I don't know what you do with it. I mean, in fact, it had that Targa Florio period history. I mean, it's intriguing, but I don't know. You can have a lot of fun in it. I don't even know what you wanted for it price wise, but you'll see there's an advert for it and stuff, and I think it's got a. Well, you can look it up. I'm sure it's available online to see what's going on. But he's very keen to show us it running and them driving it. Yeah. I quite like it. I don't know what the hell I'd do with it. I do not know. which is why I think, that's as far as it goes. I quite like it. I'd love to build a special one day, but something maybe not like this, more like the Alphas we were looking at earlier, something more of that scale. Maybe the Maserati engine. Oh, and talking of Maseratis, is the Achi site. Yeah, they're lovely, aren't they? Well, I think you saw these in last week's video, but we can look at them again, can't we? This gold one's cool, isn't it? I can't remember how many halls there are, but there's loads of halls you go through. That's nice, isn't it? Lowath, Stratos. Very cool. There we go. I was having a look at these seats. I thought they were quite nice, weren't they? Quite well made. Bit of fun. I thought they're quite cool. Because they got their coats hung over them, you can't see the details, but that's good. And over here, we got the Fusina seats. So it's a relaunch of the Fusina brand of seats and steering wheels. So that's what it's about. Yeah, that's a good colour again, isn't it? Nicely done, this one. Very correct. Four-litre, you can tell by that sculpting where the bumper goes in like that. What was out in the evening? It's beautiful, isn't it, Bologna by night? What a lovely place. And here we have the booty, what I brought home. So a few old stickers, some carnies, Agip carnies. You hang them over your rear view mirror. That's cool, isn't it? Some genuine Arbath tie down straps, the real deal. So not your repro stuff. Some bonkers welding goggles. Whether I'd trust to use them, I don't know. I just thought they were funny and they weren't expensive. And stock indicator lights for the Mistral Spider for my customer because he needs a set. An little old Targa Italian number plate surround for something. And the bag it all comes in. So until next year, when I will be back. Yes. Well, that's all, folks. Back to the workshop. And back to some more work for next week, eh? Should we have a normal video?